580块。今天法院把钱转给我的时候，我整个人都懵了。
580 RMB. Yes, you heard that right. I sold my property. In the end, I earned 580 RMB. I was stunned when the court transferred the money to me today. Back in 2018, I bought a 100 square meter property in Zhengzhou for 1.9 million RMB. Back then, I had 500,000 RMB and I borrowed 100,000, making the down payment 600,000 RMB. I took out a loan of 1.3 million RMB with a high interest rate of 5.88% and a monthly payment of 7,700 RMB. I gritted my teeth and bought it. This is the painful experience of a Chinese blogger who lost his home to foreclosure due to unemployment. He explained that everyone around him was buying properties at the time, saying real estate was a profitable investment. He lived frugally for 7 years, only to feel defeated when he checked his finances last year. He discovered that over the years, he had paid 650,000 RMB to the bank, with nearly 550,000 RMB of that being interest. Only 100,000 RMB had gone towards the principal. After 7 years, he still owed the bank 1.16 million RMB. Then, he was laid off during the economic downturn. With no other option, he stopped paying. His house was seized. With fines, medical bills, and legal fees piling up, he spent tens of thousands more. In the end, after the house was auctioned, he was just left with a few hundred RMB. Some netizens commented that his situation wasn't the worst, and there's a serious oversupply of properties, and the truly tragic cases are those who spent their savings on unfinished buildings.
这套房子烂尾了，但是就这一家住进去了。
This building was left incomplete, but somehow a family moved in. It's a high-rise with no elevator. Do they have to climb stairs every day? I've never seen a building like this. The top floors are residential, while the lower floors are unfinished. The location is great, right across from Wu Ye Plaza. Further down is Lao Zong Plaza. When it first opened, there was a rush to buy, but now it's just a burden.
现在房子过剩，太过剩了。
I live in a neighborhood right next to a large abandoned area. The building in front is empty. The white part visible in front is the sky across from me.
要建238米的超高层地标。
In the fourth-tier city, they planned to build a 238-meter super high-rise landmark, but it ended up as an unfinished project. The total area of the project was 59 acres, with a total construction area of 900,000 square meters. They claimed it would be the city's iconic economic landmark. By 2020, Phase 2 was almost finished, but once the funding chain broke, construction stopped, and the project was left to rot.
佛山佛大旁边的这一个烂
This unfinished building next to Foshan University has been abandoned since 1994, watching successive generations of students graduate while this building remains an empty shell.
海口的烂尾楼到底还有多少？
How many unfinished buildings are there in Haikou City? The Zhongfang Hainan building can be said as the most bizarre property in Hainan. Since 2022, owners have been reporting that they can't get their homes after paying for the properties. They also can't get their money back if they want to cancel the purchases.
In the footage, the abandoned building is filled with piles of rubble and overgrown weeds, resembling a horror movie set. A few students went to explore the building, only to end up terrified and crying. The number of vacant homes in China is staggering. Based on statistics, including commercial and other types of housing, the number of vacant homes has exceeded 130 million. The Wall Street Journal reported in 2024 that, as the population shrinks, the surplus issue becomes more severe. The vacancy rate for homes in China shows an increasing trend from first-tier cities to third- and fourth-tier cities. So, why are there so many vacant homes and unfinished buildings? Don't many people still need housing? Aren't the homes of owners who stopped paying seized through foreclosure? What's really going on? Recently, industry insiders have revealed some shocking secrets. One netizen disclosed that the old industry practices no longer work. If homebuyers followed the developer's sales pitch and government propaganda, they are likely to go bankrupt.
谁和你说这个房子封了顶，它就不烂尾了？
Who told you that once the roof is finished, the building won't be left unfinished? Who told you that once the windows are installed and the exterior walls are done, it won't be abandoned? And who told you that if the property is selling well and the location is great, it won't be abandoned? It's still going to be abandoned.
我们上次来逛陆家嘴的时候，怎么也没想到啊。
When we visited Lujiazui in Pudong last time, I never expected that the building behind me would be an unfinished project. In the center of the universe, there's an unfinished building. A real estate agent named Zongchen Real Estate Abo said, I may quit my job, but I'm pursuing the truth. People in Mingyang, listen up. Citizens emptied 6 wallets and took on 30 years of mortgage debt, yet the house still hasn't appeared. The government's promises were all lies. Owners have a property but can't move in, still paying the mortgage while living in rental apartments. Where did the money go, and who's regulating it? This blogger stated that, aside from the buyers, no one wants to finish these unfinished buildings. Why? First, most unfinished buildings are oversold. One unit might be sold to 3, 5, or even 10 buyers. So once a building is completed, which owner gets the property? Developers don't want and can't afford to finish it. Second, once a building reaches the roof, the developer has already collected all the payments. Continuing construction only adds more costs. In a sense, building the property is a trap itself. Third, after reaching the roof, some developers use all the properties as collateral at financial institutions. For example, if a neighborhood is worth 10 billion RMB, they can mortgage it multiple times and even get up to 30 billion RMB. This temptation is so great. Who can guarantee they won't be tempted? Fourth, doing this also allows developers to default on many other debts, such as payments for building materials, construction work, and wages for migrant workers. Eventually, the developer's funds run dry, the developer flees, the company goes bankrupt, and the project is abandoned. At this point, if an ordinary citizen tries to sue in court, they won't even find the defendant. No one takes responsibility. The land sellers, lenders, or builders are all free of blame. Only the citizens who empty their wallets for 2 generations are left to bear it all. What's worse is that even if the buyer's property and down payment are gone, they still have to repay the bank loan in full. More and more people are dissatisfied with the Chinese Communist Party's real estate policies and false advertising. A netizen said,
"为什么烂尾楼啊要让购房者来？"
Why should buyers bear all the responsibility for unfinished buildings? Shouldn't the banks be fully responsible? Once a property is abandoned, the bank should refund the buyers full payment. I say this because the primary responsibility for unfinished buildings lies with the bank. Although the developers are also at fault, the responsibility is nothing compared to that of the bank. Regardless of who is at fault, what does it have to do with us, the buyers? But now, all the losses are being shouldered by us, the buyers. Isn't that ridiculous? More netizens criticize that life in China is really tough. Even when ordinary people are vigilant, it's hard to avoid being deceived. Every day there are new traps, and each one is different. Many people bought homes with loans. While their homes are finished, property prices have fallen sharply, making decades of hard-earned savings in banks. A netizen shared,
这是2018年花了100万买的一套房子。
I bought this house in 2018. This is the door, the kitchen is on the left. The living room is here. Outside the living room, you can see a large shopping mall, but there's hardly anyone there. Here's the bathroom. This is the bathroom. I just asked the agent. The latest selling price is 200,000 RMB. This isn't just a price drop, it's a crash to the ground.
300万买的房子现在跌到了只有125万。
I bought this house for 3 million RMB. Now it's worth only 1.25 million. People keep asking me why I bought it at the peak. Honestly, if I had known it was the peak, I wouldn't have bought it.
Netizens stated that at the peak, it was when the government's propaganda was the strongest. For ordinary people who lack professional knowledge and face extreme information asymmetry, it's hard to avoid such traps. Once people buy the wrong property, no ordinary family can afford it. I worked as an agent in Nanchang for 8 years. I want to share a piece of advice. When buying a property, be rational. Industry insiders listed areas in China with the largest drops in property prices.
你知道全国房价跌得最惨的？
Do you know which areas experienced the most significant declines in property prices? Fifth is Yongqing in Hebei, where prices dropped from 23,000 RMB to 4,000 RMB per square meter. Fourth is Yanjiao in Beijing, where the price dropped from 45,000 RMB to 7,000 RMB. Third is Rushan in Weihai, which dropped from over 8,000 RMB to just 1,000 RMB, and now no one wants to buy. Second is Cuipingcheng in Nanjing, which dropped from 18,000 RMB to 7,000 RMB. Number 1 is Badaling, Peacock City, where the price dropped from 18,000 RMB to 3,000 RMB, and it still can't sell.
In addition to unfinished buildings, plummeting property prices, and homes being repossessed due to unemployment, another serious consequence has emerged: housing quality. A Chinese blogger uploaded a video stating, These homeowners never imagined that the expensive homes they bought with high loans would end up becoming a real-life high-rise slum. This is the Fenggang Garden Community, located at the border of Dongguan and Shenzhen. People started moving in this residential community in 1993. In just over 30 years, it has become so dilapidated. The exterior walls have fallen off, and the community environment resembles a war-torn slum. Stepping into this area, you're hit by a strong sense of decay. It feels as though the time has turned back to the 1970s. Seeing such a contrast is truly heartbreaking. But now, it can't be demolished and rebuilt. No one knows how much longer the homes can hold on. It's hard to imagine what today's multi-story buildings will look like in 30 years. Another netizen commented that in their community, a building constructed in 2018 already has its exterior walls falling off. Some said that it's not the property, but the land that holds value. If everyone works together, we can demolish it ourselves and rebuild. With just 2,000 RMB per square meter, we could make something really good. Some replied, "Is that land yours? You only have a 70-year usage right for the house. The land has nothing to do with you. Wait for the government to do the demolition. If your property is not worth anything, the government is even less likely to demolish it. When you can't hold out anymore, the property and land will naturally revert to the government." Of course, the government has not stood idly by either. Recently, the topic of economists advising young people to buy homes went viral and sparked a wave of discussions. Chinese economist Jia Kang stated on March 25th that young people should actively consider using their own funds to purchase homes they desire, as the real estate market shows signs of stopping the decline and warming up. Recently, Professor Li Dao-Kui from Tsinghua University suggested that the government should provide subsidized interest rates for young people to buy homes, proposing lowering bank loan rates from 4% to 1%. Media outlets have continued to quote these experts, saying they are advocating for home ownership. Netizens, however, have voiced their concerns, with some saying, "The government is manipulating the market again," and "Don't listen to the experts. Back in 2019, they said home prices will steadily rise, but after I bought, prices dropped. Now they say it's time to buy, but I'll make my own judgment." U.S. economist David Jun Huang analyzed that even if the government did subsidize interest rates for young people to buy homes, the help would be limited. He said, "It only reduces about 20% of the interest expenses. However, the real issue is that young people aren't buying homes for three main reasons. First, they lack confidence in the future. Second, they don't have the money. Third, Social Security is inadequate. It's not just about the interest rates, so subsidizing the interest is only a temporary solution, not a fundamental one." Is the real estate market bottoming out? No. While the market in first-tier cities may be relatively stable, the willingness and proportion of the new generation of buyers remain weak. Additionally, the taxes on second-hand and new homes, as well as the overall sales and prices of the housing market, are still unstable. The market is still adjusting, with first-tier cities being somewhat better off. In the future, the Pearl River Delta, Yangtze River Delta, and Bohai Rim regions may stabilize, but other regions are unlikely to do so. Wang stated that if the government truly wants to encourage homeownership, it should significantly reduce taxes, increase Social Security and welfare, and greatly improve market management efficiency. Without these changes, all promotion of the housing market is just a slogan. Professor Xie Tian from the University of South Carolina commented, "For ordinary people, a reduction of interest from 4% to 1% does offer a significant subsidy, but the real issue isn't how high the interest is, it's what will happen to property prices in the future. Property prices are actually continuing to decline. If property prices drop by 5% or 10% in the next 1 or 2 years, the interest subsidy won't help at all. In this case, urging people to buy homes just helps the CCP stabilize the housing market, keeping prices high, and helps the banks make more loans." She explained that the main reason young people are not buying homes is income, but the CCP tries to use experts to hype up the economy. He said, "Whenever there's a problem with real estate or the economy, the CCP deceives the public, tempting people to invest in the stock or housing markets, extracting money from them. Now they are continuing to exploit young people. I believe these young people's trust in government has dropped to rock bottom, and the public is no longer easily fooled." Latest data shows that in February 2026, property prices in China continue to hit new lows. The price drops in second and third tier cities have widened, and even first tier cities are struggling to recover. The most shocking is that new residential sales in the first 2 months of 2026 plummeted by over 20%. The second-hand housing market is even worse, with second-hand property prices in Beijing and Guangzhou dropping by over 8% year-on-year. Overall, first-tier cities saw a year-on-year decline of 7.6%. indicating that the pressure of asset shrinkage is spreading from new homes to all property owners. Many netizens said that properties in China will only become harder to sell. Currently, the main demographic consists of people born in the 1950s and 1960s. In 20 or 30 years, as these people age, the properties will be passed on to those born in the 1980s and 1990s. By then, most of these people will have paid off their mortgages. Just imagine, will they still need so many homes? Each person might want to sell 1 or 2 properties to improve their living standards, but they will find that everyone around them is in the same situation. However, by that time, the population will have dramatically decreased, so who will buy the homes? Some predict that in the next 2 years, property prices in China could drop by another 25 to 30%, with 180 square meter homes becoming increasingly common. This is due to the continuous decline in birth rates and the worsening aging population, which could make properties less valuable. By then, it might be so bad that no one would want them for free, especially in 5th and 6th tier cities, where finding someone to take over will be more difficult.